Hello, friends. Welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be doing a flip through of all my November after the pen spreads here in my catch-all Frankenplanner system. I'll show you guys the 5 planners that I am using in this one catch-all, along with some add-ins for the holiday season. I have some other sections as well that I'll briefly touch upon in case you've never seen my setup before. And that's going to basically do it. So hopefully that's what you're here for. Thanks for joining me if you are here for the live chat. I love having you guys interact with me during the video. So please feel free to drop in, say hello, give me any, feedback, questions, comments. I love it all. So hopefully you are here for the premiere and can join me for the live chat. But if not, if you're watching this after the fact, do feel free to drop those same types of things into the comments below, and I will be happy to respond there. So if that sounds good, let's jump in. First off, I have my expander rings, which are bursting at the seams right now because I am housing quite a few extra things in my planner this time of the year. So I have that in, but I have that, my cover, which I DIY'd and updated in my holiday refresh, which is kind of falling apart a little bit here on the sides. It's like adding air in, so there's like a giant air bubble. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera, but so I need to reset it in my laminator, but it's mainly because it's just so big and it's just not happy. So hopefully once I'm done with this video, I can lighten the load and it will look a lot better. Anyway, so I have this cover. It's a layered cover that I DIY'd, and then I have my DIY sticky dash as well. This is a piece of acetate from Plannything that I just added in with some sticky notes and a cardstock backer. So at the front of my planner right now, during this time of year, I house my holiday planner section. In it, I have a few items. I'll go through a couple of pages just so you guys can see, but I have set up videos on this as well. Anyway, so I have like a little project page that I made here with some holiday media items. I have my calendar, which has been very important for keeping track of all the things this season since things are just moving so fast. And then, oh gosh, it's just so tight here. Sometimes the pages catch, so I have to be kind of gentle. I have the back there. I also have my red dashboard that I got from the Happy Planner long time ago. It's not available anymore, but I really like this pop of red in my holiday section, so I use it every year. And then I have my holiday countdown next. This holiday planner is in my Etsy shop. Most of the things you're going to see in my planner are from my Etsy shop. So if there's something I spy during this video, either check the video description down below for the link or reach out to me on Etsy. It may be a custom item and I can happily try to coach you on that. So anyway, I have my holiday countdown, which I filled out with the items that I need to keep track of. Another thing that's been so helpful this season because I've mapped it out by the weeks and the date range so I would know when I need to have certain things done, and I'm already a little bit behind, specifically on making my Christmas cards, which is a big one for me since I hand make my Christmas cards every year. And this layout has just really helped me know where I should be and make adjustments until I can get back on track. So I really have been using this one a lot this year. I don't have anything on the back, but I do have this Healthy Holidays and Good Deeds. Oops. That's why. Good Deeds Advent Calendar in here as well, which was a DIY insert I did this year with some free printables if you need one for your planner. There is a video on it with the printable downloads. Got that. I've got a couple of pages in here for like the seasonal events. I have my Christmas card list, which I'm going to flip through real quick, bypass. My Black Friday list, Cyber Monday list of shopping, all part of that planner in my shop. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I can really show you right now. Probably not. I'm just going to go ahead and jump to the end because most of it is sensitive information for members of my family and stuff. So, but all of those pages are in here. So you can see it's quite a bit bulking up my planner. At the back of that, I have a pencil pouch, which I got at Joann's, but is available on Amazon if you need one for your planner, that I'm using to house receipts, but I haven't really put any receipts in there because I do a lot of online shopping. I have this pocket folder that I made as well, along with this DIY pen loop that I made. I made a lot of things in my planner. Anyway, so I have all this in here, kind of related to the holiday section. And I've also refreshed the entire planner for the holidays, so you'll see a lot of dashboards and things with holiday themes. I also have my reading book list card, or my reading log card in here. That was a giveaway from many years ago, but I still use it. I really love the format of it, so I've been keeping up with that. Okay, so that's a brief introduction of the first kind of part of my planner, but the real sectioning of my planner starts here. I have 6 tabs on the side with individual sections that I use on a regular basis. And then we will get into the top tabs, which is where you'll see a lot of the things we're going to go through today for my After the Pens. So my first section is my inbox section. This is where I keep my David Allen Getting Things Done set up with this kind of cute but simple dashboard. And then this printable from my shop. I also have a goals tab with another cute dashboard. And then my goals set up for 2024. Videos on all of that stuff. Then we have my productivity section, which is another cute dashboard. And then I have my routines and what else do I have in here? I have my Kanban board. I think that's it. Yeah. In this section as well, in case I need to reference those. Then we have my schedule section, which is where we're going to spend most of the time, and another dashboard in here. And then we'll kind of get into this here in a second. At the back, we'll also touch on the last 2 tabs of that 6-tab system. Also go through the bottom tabs as well. This first part of my planner is my year planner. And my year planner is basically all of my annual pages for the year, along with a monthly memory keeping section as well at the back. This very front cover is from a Happy Planner, and it is housing a perpetual calendar with my work schedule. So I'm going to flip past that and just show you the start of my printables here. So this first one is just a year at a glance with a vellum overlay that I gave away as a freebie last year with important dates and holidays. And then we have my yearly habits section. And this has been really fun to keep track of, like, my self-care type of habits that I want to keep up this year. So that is all laid out, and I've been keeping up with that pretty well, again, in my shop. And then we have my future log, which I have mapped out with all of the events for 2024 and uses color coding key to kind of make it look cute and also be very functional. So I have that in here. And then we have my first spread that we're going to talk about, which is my November monthly for my memory a day keeping. So this spread here, I do a theme in the beginning of the month or before the month starts, and then I fill in each day a highlight from my day just to kind of keep a memory keeping system of my life, even though I don't have a lot going on. So I try to keep it simple. I have gotten to the point where I was doing like full paragraphs and it was way too much. So now I just try to pick out a highlight from each day, and then I will pin it in the mornings on the next day. So this is how it turned out. I have been using these fine tipped brush pens from Right Tech. It's called the Sign Brush Pen, and I really love them for this um, area of my planner in particular because I have a bunch of different colors in it. I started out with the vintage set of, I think, 10 or 12 pens, and then I went ahead and bought it's either like natural or primary. I can't remember the name of the second set I bought, but it'll be down below in the description if you guys are looking for it. So I got this set of pens, and like I said, it's got a really small brush tip pen, very similar to a Fudonosuke brush pen from Tombow, which is a popular one. But I love the color range in these sets. So I've grabbed one out. This is actually a lighter shade of red. I used a darker shade for matching up with the florals last month, and paired that with actually another Right Tech pen, which was a fine liner set I got, and another one of my favorites. Anyway, so this is how it turned out. I do a little bit of doodling. I do, some lettering of sorts here and there. I try to keep it fairly simple, but cute to look at. And then on the back, I do a currently of sorts, but I focus in on the media that I consume each month. I keep track of the books that I've read, the movies I've watched, and then any TV that I've seen or, shows I've been binging, that kind of thing. That is the end of that part of my planner. So this will be archived and put away, and then I've already got December set up. And that's the end of my year planner section. Next, I have my faith planner, and my faith planner is one of my favorite sections of my planner system. But I will say for November, I was not as consistent as I've been in the past. Just had so many things going on in November. Had some visitors. Obviously, we've got Thanksgiving. We've got all of the holiday prep. I own a shop, obviously, in Etsy, so that takes a lot. So I wasn't as consistent as I wanted to be. But overall, this planner is one of my favorite spaces in my setup. What I do for my faith planner is I theme out the entire month in the same theme all at once, and I do a plan with me so you guys can see that set up every month. It just makes it easier so I don't have to think about new spreads and new decor every week. Everything is kind of matching, and it also helps me with the color choices that I use for the month. I don't have to mix it up every week. It's all the same for the entire month of November, for example. This month, I ended up making my own quotes for the month, and I gave this away as a freebie. So if you are looking for some Thanksgiving faith-based quotes, you can check out that video. I also add in my habits for the month. I like to track my morning prayer. I also like to track my daily reading, my verse lettering, and then my application section. So you'll see all of those as we go through. And I chose these two colors to work with throughout the month. So you'll see those highlighters as well. I believe these were both Tombow brush tip pens, dual tip brush tip pens for the month. I also have my prayer list here that I keep track of and pray on every morning. On this side, I usually letter in a verse of the month to kind of correlate with whatever the theme is. And then the bottom is sectioned off for some spiritual check-in prompts that I usually answer sometime during the month. Next, we have my monthly overview spread. This spread is where I keep track of my daily Bible reading, those verses that I have in my daily Bible reading. I also add an application that is based off of that reading each day below. Just a quick takeaway from whatever I was reading to make it kind of stick to my mind, something to think on, to dwell on for the day. And as you can see, the consistency wasn't as good this month. I did play catch up on a couple of days, so the verses that correspond with the days are accurate to what I should have been reading, but I may have read, for example, this day or this day on the 11th or 12th. that kind of thing. And therefore didn't do an application, but did the reading kind of on my own to catch up. But for the most part, I think this came out really cute. I like the style of this month. It was a natural but fall theme and it had those Thanksgiving vibes, so it was fun to be in. This first week is part of my quadrant layout planner from my shop, and I use this layout for lettering, as you can see. I have an app called the YouVersion Bible app that feeds in both my daily Bible reading and my verse of the day. So I just use whatever comes in and then figure out how I'm going to letter it each day. Super simple process. I do have a lettering series of videos kind of just discussing how I go about my lettering each morning. So if you want to know more about that, just let me know. I'll try to link it down below in the description, but if it's not there, just reach out to me through the comments and I can link it for you. So this is the second week, and the only thing I decorate on each weekly is this week box so that I have room to do this lettering. And that works out really nicely, ties everything together, but isn't too overwhelming as far as designing and setting up. I use this red pen. I find that red markers are particularly strong in ink. I don't know what the pigment is that they have to use for red colors, but I have a whiteout pen that just it won't cover it. So I have to be extra careful when I'm using my red pen in particular in case I make any mistakes. They're pretty much set. You can kind of see where I try to fix things, but it just ends up being like a pink smear. So I don't know. For that reason, I ended up not using red in December, even though I have like a Christmas themed spread because I was just really tired of the red not doing what I wanted it to do. And here is how the next week turned out. I did miss a couple of days of lettering as well, just because of how busy I was. So you'll see, and there may be one or two that are missing. And I think this is the final week, yes. So this is how I ended up doing the last week. I think the month as a whole came out pretty well. I had lots of fun with the lettering in the mornings, so overall I thought it was a pretty good month. And on the back page, I decided to try this gratitude challenge. It was a little weird. What I picked was not a faith-based gratitude challenge, so it just had some prompts to get you thinking about things to be grateful for. I didn't really know what to do for some of these. I was like, what am I grateful for? Curiosity? That's an odd one, like things like that. So I did do them when I thought about them, but some of them I just was like, I don't know. I just skipped it. But the thought was there. So it's a good idea, I think, if you can find a more faith-based challenge that correlates with, Thanksgiving and gratitude. But this one was a little bit weird, I will say, for the month. But I do try to use this back page for something else spiritual every month, and I thought I would give this a try. So sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. This one was a little bit of a not so good one, but you never know. Sometimes they turn out good, and you have to try them to see. So that's the end of my faith planner. I'm just going to go ahead and grab these pages out because, like I said, it is just so full in here. And then I'll put them in their binder after the fact, but I'm just going to pull them out now because, like I said, it's just so full and I want to have some breathing room when we're done with this video. I'm also going to grab out my memory a day pages as well. Okay, so we've got December already in, all the tabs are set up, but basically if you're completely new to my channel, I use these top tabs to navigate to each of the individual spreads in my planner that I need to touch daily. So I have one for the Faith Overview spread, the Faith Monthly, the Faith Week, and then the Faith, what I call my Faith Project, but that back page that I just talked about with the Gratitude Challenge. So those are 4 pages that I need to look at, either do something on those pages, add some tracking, check in. So they have a tab for me to navigate to that section each morning. And that is how you're going to see the rest of my planner setup as well. So again, if you're just brand new, that is how I do it. I find that makes it easier for me to not miss a page or to avoid neglecting pages that I want to be active in. This system has worked for me for many years, and I talk about it. If you want to know more, I do have some videos on, how to approach your setup and things like that. So again, just let me know, check the description. There will be some videos linked. But if you want to know specifically what video I'm talking about right now, go ahead and leave that in the comments or in the chat. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump on to the next planner, which is my health planner. And again, this planner has some monthly pages that I just kind of keep in the same theme, but the weeklies in this planner are all individually themed. And I didn't do much decor in November. I was kind of busy, like I mentioned, so I just stuck with a 1-color pen using a mild liner in a kind of a warm burnt orange color for November, since it's Thanksgiving. This first layout is not available as is in my shop. It's a custom item, but I basically have a step tracker here with some monthly habits that I want to keep track of. And then on this side, I have my workout chart for the month, so I can just kind of keep track of what I did on which days and see it all at a glance for the month versus just on the weeklies. So I can kind of know how consistent I'm being throughout the entire month. Down here, I set this aside to do some strength training plans, to write in, what I was going to do for the month. I have been trying to get this going throughout 2024, and I have some false starts, but I haven't really been able to commit to it. The way that I've been getting my strength training in has been through like a gym class that I go to. I do like a body pump class. You're familiar with it. And I just find it so much easier than trying to do the whole gym floor thing. So I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get to the point where I'm comfortable on the gym floor and just doing my own routine. So for now, I'm content with the consistency I've been able to maintain with that body pump class. So I'm just going to keep doing that for now and reassess in 2025. The next 2 pages are available in my shop as separate items. I have a meds and supplements page, and I have my health symptoms page. So I use these to track, obviously, what they say. I've got my meds and supplements here. I also use this little sectioned off page for a symptom summary so that I can kind of get a quick write-in of how the day was or what was going on with me. And then I also color code my meds and supplements based on what they're for. So like these are supplements, this is for like my skincare, and then I have my allergy stuff here at the front. On this side, I have my health symptoms. So here I track basically all the things that I experience on a daily basis related to all of my chronic health issues. And then I rate the severity and then any triggers that I can identify and how severe they are. So the bigger the dot, the more severe the issue was. So now we're on to my weeklies, and I've been using a lined vertical layout for a majority of 2024 for tracking my health. And I've really loved this layout. It's been a really good one to work in. So I'm going to continue using that into 2025, I think. There's another layout that I'm kind of interested in using, but I think I'm just going to start off with the lined vertical because I'm familiar with it. And I have a few changes coming in to my planner for 2025. So I don't want to go crazy with new things. So I am going to probably just stick with this one to start. But anyway, this was the first week, and I really loved the gradient of color that we have here. I'll talk a little bit more about the setup and what I put on these pages on the next one, but here is the finished product for this week. Here is the second week, another one that I really loved. As you can see, I was definitely in the fall mood, lots of fall spreads, and I was here for it. So I did all kinds of fun things. What I track on my health planner is my food log. So you'll see the little sections of food log. And then I also track my health stats, which I get on my Apple Watch, as well as the water consumed. And then I'm tracking here in the middle my workouts for the week. Whatever I did, I usually will write it in, what kind of workout it was, how long I did it, and then how many active calories I burned, just to get a good idea of the effort I put in during that workout. It's been really helpful just to kind of get a good picture of the results of my effort. So if I'm eating really good and I'm doing my workouts, I can definitely see a difference versus when I go off the rails, which is obvious, but it's just nice to have a visual of it to be accountable for your choices so that maybe you can make changes. If you see you're making bad choices over and over again, then you can make adjustments. So that's how I've been using my health planner for many years now, and I do find it to be helpful. So here we have the third week in November, and I really loved how this one turned out. I actually did a one book spread with this one using a Happy Planner sticker book that came out not too long ago. I am a sucker for gradients. If you follow my channel, you already know this, but if you're new, that's definitely a thing that I do. So I have a lot of gradient spreads. I love to see flows of color, and I love to see colors have a meaning in my spreads. So for this, just having that flow of color is what I went with, and I really love the way it turned out. Again, tracking all the same things, so nothing new on the tracking front, but the design really helps keep me engaged week after week. And this one was fun. This one was for Thanksgiving week, the last week in November. And I wanted to do something that was food related, ended up on this kind of rainbow vegetable spread. And I think it was a good choice because you guys all know when Thanksgiving's around and there's lots of goodies and things to eat. And this was just a nice reminder to keep it healthy, eat your veggies, that kind of thing. I think it turned out really cute. Loved the diagonal as a kind of a different look for the spreads and just something fresh and new. Probably could have done a little bit more with this, but it was a busy month. So a lot of the times I was just like, once I had an idea, I just kind of ran with it and let it go. So I didn't dwell on what more I could do or how I could change things. And that was good, but I can see definitely I would normally put maybe something on the bottom and the top to beef it up a little bit more with decor. Otherwise, though, this one was a really good week and fun to be in. And then on the back of my health planners, I like to put in my fasting chart so that I can keep track of all of my fasting. I've been doing 1 meal a day fasting now pretty much for the entire year, maybe like a year and a half now. And it's been really good. I find that it really helps me not overeat and I don't snack. So it's really good. I do want to build up to some longer fasts to kind of kickstart my health progression. But for now, this has been a very useful tool for me and I built up to it. So if this is something that you're like, whoa, 1 meal a day, I could never, I was there with you a few years ago. Like I couldn't even imagine myself where I am now. But over time, you take small steps, baby steps, you can get there. So if it's something you want to do, but it seems out of reach, start small and you'll progress to where you can do it. Kind of how I feel about my extended fast. I just need to get over the mental challenge of thinking it sounds too hard and try it and see what happens. Basically what I'm using here is an insert from my shop, and I am using the 12-hour one. There's a 24-hour one. I put a dot when I actually break my fast with food or anything like sugar or anything like that. I usually have decaf coffee in the morning and I drink that throughout the day, but that doesn't have any calories. So I start with the food, and then when I stop with the food, that's when the end dot is. You may see some dotted lines. Those are time spans where I wasn't eating, but I'm not counting that as a fasting period because I ended up eating later in the day or having mainly like 2 meals instead of just one. And so that's what you're seeing here if you kind of want to know what's going on with the chart. I also put the total fasting hours here, and then I highlight anything that's over 20 hours, which is my goal for every day. And then I keep track of the start and stop times here in the notes so I can calculate these fasting hours, which is tricky when you start to get to 1 meal a day. And yeah, so this helps me do the calculations a lot easier than trying to just do it in my head. So that is my health planner and a bit about what I'm tracking there. Again, I'm going to pull it out, lighten the load here. And we'll move on to the next section, which is my... Oh, well, actually, wait. I'm going to talk about real quick my last tab in my health planner, which gets me to this fasting page, but also is connected with a couple of other items because I needed a place to see it every day and not forget about it. So I have this cleaning schedule, which was a DIY project, I think 2 years ago. And I laminated it so I could use it over and over each month. I love this thing. It's been very helpful for preparing for guests and the holiday season, just to make sure that I'm, keeping up with all the things. And on the back, I have a annual style list as well for things that I need to keep up with that I will renew probably for 2025. So anyway, I have that in here, and I have it attached to this spread along with a little section here which houses my measurements, my body measurements, which I take every month, and my daily weight, which I write in again every day. Those are inside of here. I don't share those anymore. I used to share my weight back when I was, younger and fitter. I don't do that anymore. COVID and all that good stuff has really changed my body quite a bit, but I'm getting back to it. Just it's taking way longer than I wanted to. Anywho, I've got the health stats on the back. This has been really helpful for kind of getting an overview of how each month goes. And it's basically all those same daily stats that I've been tracking in my health planner, just in a month view. And I track my totals and then my averages. These inserts here that are part of this little grouping are a custom item that I made for myself, but again, something that I could bring to my shop if there's enough interest. So let me know if you like these layouts. But anyway, so those stay in here. I will need to update my cleaning schedule here. I need to remember to do that for December. And okay, so that's technically the end of my health planner. Now we're moving into my agenda planner, which is what I call it. Basically, this is what houses all of my events and my appointments, things like that, that I need to address on a monthly or weekly basis. This first layout is another kind of customized item for my planner, but I do have these available as separate kind of styles in my shop, and they'll be linked down below if you just want to see one or the other. This first page is my month overview page or monthly overview. I have some habits again here that I like to track. They're usually more goal or work related tracking. I do like to track my book time or audiobook time too, just to see how much I'm reading or listening. So you'll see that here. I also have my monthly to-do list, which is very helpful, and I will definitely be keeping that into 2025. On this side, I have my monthly goals, which I set up each month, usually in a video if you want to see how I approach it. Basically, it's all tied back to my annual and quarterly goals. Basically, I just use this to funnel it into my week so I know what I need to be focused in on for the month. And again, the layouts in here for the monthly pages are all themed out in the same theme. So you're going to see this same kind of warm Thanksgiving theme throughout these pages until you get to the weeklies, and the weeklies are done individually. Here we have my fall bucket list. So this has been a really fun one to try to achieve this year. It is a DIY project, obviously, and I gave away the list for free as part of the setup. So if you want to check that out, there's a video on it. I really have loved doing this kind of wreath setup for my bucket list that I can move into each of the months of the season. That keeps it front of mind, so I just put my tab right in the middle here. So every morning when I look at my monthly, I'm also looking at my bucket list, and it reminds me to do those fun items that I have here. So I have that. I'm going to pull that out now. And then I have my November monthly, which is just the events and things that I have going on. So normal reason to have a monthly layout. But I also started adding in some goal tasks here based off of what I wanted to get done from my monthly goals. And I put them on the sheet so I know how, again, to filter them into my weeks and what I need to be focused on to complete that goal each week or, on specific days. So those little highlights have really helped me kind of remember to check in, make sure I'm keeping up with the things I need to get done. And this is how it turned out. I also did a little checklist of self-care items related to my autumn self-care list that I had. I already removed it from the planner, but there were some things that I wanted to try to get done. Got one thing done, and the rest, it just didn't happen. But that's okay. I don't need to have all the things. Self-care is not supposed to be stressful, right? So I didn't want to focus on it and be stressing like I need to get this done. And that worked out fine. Better than trying to stress and get all the things done. And I also added in a little gratitude sticker this month, and that was kind of fun to just think about and fill in for November. Here is the first week of November, and a lot of the health weeklies and the agenda weeklies I haven't been doing plan with me's on just because there's so much other things to talk about in my videos. So I may have some things on here that you want to know more about. If you do, just let me know. You could check my Instagram for more details on the sticker books and things that I used, or you can, reach out to me if I don't have a plan with me on it. So anyway, this one was so cute. I really loved being in this one. I had some book like washi stickers that I actually cut in half and made into smaller books. And that turned out really cute because they were super long, and they're a little bit hard to work with in this format. So cutting them down really worked out well. And then I paired those up with some Planning Things stickers from I think it might have been one of her subscription books that came out in the fall. So just loved the way this turned out. I track basically my checklist of things to do every day. And then usually I'll have some kind of focus or event section. So this is what I did on this day. But on this day, I have like a circle or a highlight box. So it just depends on the day and how I've done the decor, how I set that up. But for most of the days, I have those two items plus decor on the setup. And that works out really good. Again, decorating things helps keep me engaged. So I definitely want to look at this planner every day and just kind of see what I created. And then, of course, do the work that I have written down in it. So that's how I approach my planning with the mix of functional planning and creative planning. And here is the next week. This one was a fun one. I think I did a plan with me on this. I had seen something that I really liked that was kind of like a neighborhood road on a horizontal, and I was going to try to do that, but it didn't work out when I was thinking about how I would use this spread functionally for myself. So I ended up doing this instead, and it turned out really good. I ended up using some chalk inks for the background just to connect the neighborhood, if you would, and loved the final result. Again, tracking all the same things, so nothing else really to report other than the change in design. Oh yeah, so this is the third week in November. So the week before Thanksgiving, I decided I wanted to try out something I've had in my mind for a long time to do, which was to marry an hourly planner with a more traditional, like horizontal, or in this case, ended up kind of being more of a dashboard style planner. And I think this is going to be something that I'm bringing to my shop. Again, let me know if you think this is something that you would find useful. The way that I have it set up is basically like a Happy Planner dashboard layout where there's something on this page is more of the dashboard page, and then on this side you have it broken down by days. So this is where I've decided to add in my hourly schedule. It's something that I've just been having trouble keeping up with where I have it now in the front of my planner. So I like having it next to the tasks that need to be done so that I can kind of map out my day, make sure that I have time to do all the things that I think I can do every day instead of just guessing and then ending up, running out of time. So this definitely helps me be more productive and also more realistic with my time. I missed that. I was doing an hourly planner at the beginning of the year, and it was great for that, but then I kind of missed the decor that I could do in that planner. So I'm hoping that this will work out as a good compromise between being able to be creative and have space for decor, but also being able to track my schedule. I did a quick setup for this guy using some stickers from, I think these ones are from the Happy Planner, the quote, and then the trees are from a recent journal say haul I got, and some washi tape. I also used a couple of very tiny highlighters from Mon Ami. If you've never seen these are great for this. So if you are thinking about doing this layout, or if you're working in a very small planner, like a mini or maybe even something smaller, these tips are like half the size of a mild liner highlighter. So good for small planners. And then on the other side, you've got a really nice fine tip, and there's bunches of colors. I think I got 3 sets of these from Stationery Pal, maybe last year or the year before, and I really loved them, and they were perfect for this layout. I'll talk a little bit about this layout. I just did an undated one and kind of spliced it in with my planner. I didn't mention I'm actually using the Happy Planner monthly and horizontal weeks from this. So these are not inserts from my shop. This is from the Happy Planner. I had one on hand and I didn't use it the first half of the year, so I ended up bringing that in and using it. But this layout here, like I said, is kind of like a dashboard layout. I will be calling this my hourly dashboard layout in my shop. So once I get it in there, I will refer to it as that. And again, I am interested to see if you guys think this would work for you. If you have a fairly busy schedule and need something like this to help you kind of map out your day. Basically, all I did on this side was the same things, the checklist, and if there was a focus area, I did a box or just a little write-in. It's actually turned out really, really good. Just like I said, a good compromise of decor and functionality for me. So for Thanksgiving week, we went back to my favorite horizontal, and I loved how this turned out. As you can see, back to the whole color gradient idea, and I had thought I was going to do more of a Thanksgiving style theme, or even like a split spread theme where, Thanksgiving is on one side and then Christmas is on the other. But I just didn't really have the stickers for it because I used them pretty much throughout the entire fall and just didn't have what I needed to get it done. So I decided to do this instead, and it really worked out, I think, in the end. I have some really pretty vintage washi tape from the washi tape shop, which I don't think they sell anymore, but I found it on Amazon. So I do have a link for it if you like that. And then these stickers are from Plannything. I think pretty much everything else in here is from Plannything, except for the quotes are from the Happy Planner. It was a very busy week, so lots of lists to do, but overall, just really good. Oh, I didn't fill out what I did on Sunday or what I needed to do. Okay. Usually, like, there's something that I needed to do, but I probably had a sticky note on top of it for something and then forgot to fill it in. Anyway, that's the last week of November. And then on this last part of my planner, I do a social media kind of spread here, another custom item where I have just a place for my social stats, the chart for the monthly growth, and then weekly things that I need to check in on to do. Over here, I have my November social media schedule as well. And this is where I kind of plan out what videos I'm going to post, and then also my Instagram posts as well. And again, these pages are themed out with the same Thanksgiving style theme as the other monthly pages. Nothing on the back. And that's pretty much it for November in my agenda planner. So let me grab those pages out. This section is extra thick because I'm using a Happy Planner setup. So the monthly is actually a divider that I cut the tab off of just so it looks a little more seamless in my setup. And again, I have December already in there. So we're going to move on to the final planner in this schedule section, which is my budget planner, or finance planner as I refer to it in my tabs. This planner in particular is set up with all of my numbers. I don't share my finances online. So if you want to see a setup of this, I have two videos, one for the beginning of the year without any numbers that I did in 2024. And in 2023, I used a similar planner, but I actually used kind of like fake numbers so you could see how to use the planner. So I have both options if you want to delve more into how I'm budget planning. And again, I'll either link those down below in the description, or you can reach out to me directly and I will send those to you. So that's the end of my schedule section, the fourth tab. We are now on to my fifth tab, which is my reference section. And here I have some holiday dashboards again. Then we're getting into my long-term storage tabs, which are down here at the bottom. I have one for my personal items, just anything that's kind of related to home or things that I want to keep track of that aren't related to work items, if you will. And then I have a nice DIY layered dashboard here with a vellum overlay and these are stock photos, free stock photos that I printed out. Then on the back of those, I also have some fun little collages of holiday items. So you're going to see that throughout, and they're all DIY setups. So like I said, this first one is for my personal items. I'm not going to flip through what's in there, but you can kind of get an idea of the dashboard setup. Next, we're on to my business tab. This is the vellum and cardstock overlay there. Next, we have my work tab. So it was a fun one. Got the vellum overlay. And these quotes, I believe, that I used throughout this part of the planner were also freebies. So go to my refresh videos. I think from 2 years ago is where I have all the links for the things that I'm using here if you want to know more about this DIY setup. I've got that. I've also got the image here and then the back side as well. And then we're on to my social media section. This has got a really cute vellum. I think I actually made this one myself, so that's why it's the same as the one on the cover. I've got that, and then I have this stock photo with the collage on the back. So that's the end of my reference section. Let me just jump to the final tab, which is currently unlabeled, but it's basically just where I house any extra note paper I have in here, with a cute dashboard, another DIY, and some paper. At the back, I put in another pocket folder. This one I made ages ago with my very first DIY Christmas planner. This was originally for a sticky dash, so I've just put my pen loop right on that. It's also slightly bigger than a classic size, so that I could stick these these sticker sheets in here. That was the main reason why I wanted to put it in here, so that I could have these on hand for my holiday planner. These came with, I think, one of the Happy Planner holiday extension packs back in the day. And my back cover. Woo! So that is it, you guys. That was my November planner flip through. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Again, any questions or things that you are having trouble finding or need more information on, do leave those down below in the comments. I'll be happy to get back to you on that. If you were able to join me for the live premiere, thanks for joining me. I am so happy when you guys are online and we can just kind of talk and share. So I really appreciate you guys being here with me and taking time out of your afternoon to watch and participate. That said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Bye!